Hello, so for this review of El Pozo de los Mil Demonios of Maribel Carrasco, 1988, it's a review on the 2020 version that we've been seeing. I'm Sabrina Rodriguez, and
I am Julian Aragon.
And we will be reviewing this lovely presentation. So to start off, I would like to just quickly state what this play was about. It's about a nightmare that the little girl Jacinta has, and she has to travel through the land of her dream and find her jicara that has the water of life so that she can banish the demon of drought and bring back rain to the land. So what I first noticed here were various codes. The first code that there are many codes, visual code, sound code, but what most stood out to me personally was the gestural codes. I think both on the part of the marionettes that were used, but also on the part of the people behind these marionettes, because I felt that the body language that was used was not only transmitted through the caricatures, but also through the people who were working them. And this must have created various difficulties while staging, I can only imagine, but I thought it was very artistically done. The next point is a little bit about the historic context that I noticed in this play. We're going through obviously different periods from when it was written and created and now when it's being created again. So when it was first written by the author, it was in 1988, as you can see in this image, the first image here in black and white. And during this time, it was a time of vast political unrest and upheaval. And if we remember correctly, during that year was also the federal election of '88 with Salinas de Gortari and the famous election fraud here in Mexico. So all this artistic and creative work was really brought forth during a period of time that was tired of the hegemonic values of the Mexican, both public government and social structures. It was a children's play that was placed onto a social scene that wasn't really ready to talk about the taboos of, say, death or different social economic status that we can clearly see throughout this play for children. It was something that we didn't speak about with our children, versus nowadays it's become more and more popular to start to talk about these things a little earlier. And something else that I would like to bring forth are the 3 steps of analysis that we were talking about earlier in this class, which is first, I observe both just visually, the mix of audio-visual technology with a very traditional garb and costumery throughout the work of art that I think is quite visually stimulating, and the use of a very traditional sound and music and how they mix that with the use of the back screening and the lights and the projection through technology. The next thing that I noticed is, again, the mix between, at first, we're talking about a break with the hegemonic structure of talking about these things with cultural and political background. But now in the year 2020, when we observe this play, we're also talking about a lot of taboo things and a lot of things that scare us now, which are climate change, for example. And also we can note a reference during the scene that I have here in this later image, which was a reference to coronavirus and the placement of the mask over the mouth of the demon. So that stood out to me as the context both then and now. And as for my personal interpretation of this play, I would like to state that I think it's very fascinating how artists were able to, in this day that is so hard to bring people together and to watch art, the fact that we were able to make references to so many things that are both current and how the director was able to both make references to things that are like climate change and coronavirus, things that are now scaring us and now breaking the mold, which I think that they've succeeded in doing. I think they've succeeded in breaking the mold. And back then, the political and the social breakage of the mold. So that would be my personal interpretation. And now I give the word to my companion, Julian, who will be explaining his own review.
Well, for not saying again the first two steps, I'm going to go to my personal interpretation. And for my personal interpretation, first of all, I think that this play it's not for kids. I was scared since the beginning. The code of sound, the environment. If you're watching it alone with the lights off, you are being scared. You feel like the innocent of Jacinta praying through all the demons as she fight through many fears that his innocent mind of being a child doesn't see. But you as a grown up, you can see that it's been passed through a lot of things that now as an old person we can see, but the innocent of a kid that travels to like a demon's war doesn't see it. She's praying, she's in his own kid war that doesn't make her see the fear that she should have. Because like the one that was playing with the dice, that puppet, I was scared of that puppet because I didn't know what is going to happen with the dice. It's like your luck, your fate is in one dice, and she was like playing with her fate like it was nothing. She threw her fate away because I think that the dice represent the fate of someone, like because she has to make many steps of the dice. It's like when you close your eyes and you say, I'm going to go wherever it takes, where the winds take me. So I think these puppets, it's really difficult to make the expressions in puppets, but this play make it awesome. You can see the people behind the puppets, but you ignore them totally. You only see the puppets, the expression of the puppets, and it's like, how can you make a puppet transmit those feelings with the sound, with the environment, with the background? It's really great, I think, but I maintain my my opinion that this is not a kid play. I will not take my kids to this play, but it's really awesome seeing how in 1988 and in 2020 we have like the same issues, and we can continue having like climate change, like political issues, like this taboo to talk about death, because no one's want to talk about death, but death is there. And like the nanny said in the beginning, sometimes that comes, but you have to affront it. So I think that it's a really deep play. I want to see it again because I think that I escaped many references, many little details that many monsters, demons, old characters have, but the time doesn't give it, and the virtual context give you another perspective. I think that watching it alive, it will be great.
Okay, well now for our discussion, I have to agree with a lot of things you said. I think that this is more of an adult play. I don't think it's a children's play. I think that taking the innocence of Jacinta and maybe interpreting that as our innocence, a society moving into a globalized world, could be taken more as an adult reference. And I agree that I would love to see this play again to observe small detail.
Yeah, I one thing that I was like all the play trying to guess is what does the water means. For me, water was the innocent of the kid, but then everyone has water. But I was thinking like, but I think that old man doesn't care a lot about his, I don't know how to talk in Spanish. So I don't know, the thing where the water have, but I think that it was the innocent of the kid that she has to go for it. I don't know. I was like, I believe that the water was the innocent, but I think that sometimes it is like life or something else.
That's so interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. I thought of it more like the whole climate change and really taking care of water aspect. But that's also really interesting that it would be her innocence.
Yeah,
Well, this was a very interesting discussion, actually.
yeah, it also can be like the spirit of the people, because everyone has spirit, and it was told for the first from the demon that he was a kid and then he didn't remember that he was a kid, and then from Jacinta that it could be at the last of the play. I was thinking like, oh no, Jacinta is going to be a demon again. Also.
I know. Well, thank you so much for this discussion. I think that this was a really interesting play, and I'm so happy to hear your point of view versus mine. That was really great. Thank you so much from Julian and Sabrina.
Thank you.